Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time you're listening to this. This is the recording of our B2B Marketing Live talk that we did last week around how your animal personality can shape a brand with bite. My name is Chris. On here with me is Jen as well. We are the co-founders of Growth Animals, the B Corp certified Brighton-based brand consultancy.
So we're here to talk about creating brands with bite. But what are the top 3 reasons you should be investing in your brand?
Number 1 is money, because brand is proven to have a better ROI than many of the other marketing channels and platforms that you'll surely be considering right now. It's the thing that has the ability to not only drive your sales volume, not only drive your bottom line growth, but also add zeros to the valuation of your company. In fact, recent studies from Kantar and Millward Brown have proven that businesses that invest in their brand see 3 times the sales growth of those that don't, and they're able to charge up to a 38% price premium.
The second reason is cut through and stand out, because no matter whether you are a B2B brand or a B2C brand, or what category you're in, whether you are a hotel, a law firm, a toothpaste, a shampoo, you're all the same in the eyes of your consumers or customers or clients until you are bold and create yourself a brand that is distinctive, emotive, and that has impact.
And number 3 is trust. In this increasingly digital, AI and cynical world, brands are the things that can build trust with their customers. Like a dog, a brand builds trust, loyalty, affection over a period of time using consistent behaviors, which during that time enable the owner, or in this case, the customer, to build feelings of real emotional attachment.
But before we go on, let's tell you a little bit about us.
So Jen and I, how did we meet? Well, the truth is that Jen originally stalked me.
I prefer to describe myself as tenacious, Chris, rather than a stalker.
Okay, I'll let you get away with that. I was the head of marketing at the Goodwood Estate at the time. I was advertising a role in my team, the Festival Speed marketing manager. And Jen, rather than apply like a normal person, decided to ring up our HR, locate me, and then accost me on site to state her case. Now, to be fair, she was already on site for another meeting, but we'll skip over that fact for now. The main point is that her tenacious approach certainly won my affections, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, we had 5 fabulous years together working at the Goodwood Estate, dressing up in 60s fancy dress, as you can see here on screen, and achieving record sellouts and great revenues across Festival of Speed, Goodwood Revival, and the Goodwood Road Racing Club.
But as our time there was nearing its end, I, like many people, had a crisis of conscience and was looking at find ways to bring more meaning and purpose into my life. And I was lucky enough to stumble across an opportunity to become a trustee for the brilliant dementia charity down in the south called Dementia Support.
But COVID hit, and Chris put a lot of his team, including myself, from Goodwood on furlough. And he thought, hey, why don't we use Jen's brain, put it to good use, and do some brand consultancy for Dementia Support, who Chris just mentioned he's on the board of trustees for. So we did a brilliant brand consultancy project for them. And I think Chris was a little bit jealous that I was homeschooling my little boy, living by the beach, having a lovely time. So he thought he would keep me busy with some work for Dementia Support.
Very true, very true. And that was the thing that sparked the creation of Growth Animals. So it was when Jen was presenting the work back to me and the team at Dementia Support that we had our aha moment. It was a point where we thought, actually, we could take all of this experience we've garnered over the decades of building and growing brands within the B2C world, and apply that to SMEs and apply that to the B2B sector so that it has that spark, it has that energy to really be able to cut through versus what are often quite bland categories.
So our name, Growth Animals, well, why growth? Well, that's because we start with the end in mind for our clients, whether that's growth in sales, awareness, engagement, inquiries, you get the picture.
And why animals is because we fell in love with a really brilliant short animal quiz. So it's a 2-minute personality quiz based on the famous Carl Jung personality theory, and it gives you an animal personality. It started off as a bit of fun for some team building. It developed into something that became a part of our recruitment process. And later as Growth Animals, it became a great icebreaker with new clients. And so relatively recently, we got in touch with the chap who created it, a man named David Hodgson, who is an author and researcher in personality theory. And he developed for us a bespoke version that took us beyond just looking at what are the insights for you as a person. They explored also what does it mean for you as a brand. And so we're excited to share that with you today. And some of you might have sampled some of the theory that's behind it before. So Carl Jung's theory has inspired things like Myers-Briggs personality test, the disc profile with those colors, which you might have experienced before. And if you have, you probably also experienced the superpower of these quizzes, which is once you get those answers, you often get this OMFG moment of, wow, that really is me. How on earth can a 2-minute quiz get to those insights so quickly?
So we're going to let you have a go at the animal quiz yourself. You could pause this video and click on the QR code on the screen, or you've got the URL there at the bottom. And when you get to the landing page, it's linked to, you can just simply click take the quiz. So you'll see this page when you get onto the animal quiz. And there are 4 of these pages. It takes a couple of minutes to complete, and we encourage you to be really instinctive with your answers. Don't overthink them.
So the first page of questions explores where you sit on the extroversion and introversion scale. Now, none of us are one thing or the other. We all sit on a scale, as I said. But what the test is trying to do is find out which way, one or the other, do you lean. And that's why Jen said, be as instinctive as you can when answering the questions. The second page of questions explores what type of thinker you are. So are you a real world thinker or an imagined world thinker? If you're real world, you'll be more scientific, analytical in your approach. If you're an imagined world thinker, you'll be a bit more exploratory and theoretical in your approach. The third page explores how you approach projects. So are you task first, in that you are concerned first and foremost for the success, the smooth running of the task, or are you people first, in that your primary concern is how the people involved are feeling, how are they going to be responding to the task? And then the final page looks at whether you're a person who tends to live by the rules or live in the moment. So if you live by the rules, you're more likely to get enjoyment at the end of a task once everything's been done in the right process and stuck to properly. If you live in the moment, you're as likely to get enjoyment from the beginning of a task as you are the end or the middle.
So once you've done the quiz, you will then know what animal you are. And if you're a falcon, then you're like Chris. If you're a panda, you're like myself. But there are 16 animals, so there'll be a variety of different animals out there. So feel free to have a read of the profile. You can read it through. You can see what you are as a leader, as a brand, etc. And you can also see your superpowers on there. You can toggle between all of those. You can see if it resonates with you as well.
As well as it being interesting to see what it means for you in terms of your personality type, whether you're a falcon, panda, whatever it might be, you'll also see that the personality types are split into 4 different groupings. We've got the bears, the sea animals, the cats, and the birds. And so there are familiar traits within those groupings as well as there are individual traits for your own personality type. So feel free to take a screenshot of this and have a look at these in your own time as well. And for those of you who might have done Myers-Briggs before, here's how the animals relate to the 4 letters that you would have been familiar from that. And if you've done the disc profile, then you'll see this is how the animals relate to the 4 different colors, the blue, red, green, and yellow.
So I mentioned that when your results page appears on your screen, you can toggle between all of the different categories of answers, but there's a part on there called superpowers, and that's a part that is unique to our quiz, and we're going to explore that next and how important they are for building brands.
So here are all the superpowers, and you'll see that for your individual personality type, there are 6 that are typical for you. Where the superpowers come from is a branch of psychology that was started by a chap called Martin Seligman, and it's called positive psychology. He felt that psychology was too negative in its approach and that it was all about fixing people. And so he created this positive psychology branch, which is around helping people to find happiness and meaning by identifying and really heroing their superpowers.
So it's tempting when speaking to your internal stakeholders about what makes your organization unique to say some things that are really just cliches. So we're trustworthy, we're professional, we're reliable, etc. No, these are hygiene factors. We hope that all of the companies that you work for are all of these things. No, it's the superpowers that can really stand you out in your market and create a very strong brand.
And a number of you will be looking at this from the perspective of your business, whether you're part of a business, whether you're a founder or owner of a business. And so having done the test, looking at what the personality type is for you, we ask you to redo that either now or later on in your own time. And how we apply this to the business is simply to put yourself in the shoes of your business. So imagine that your business were a person and that you're answering the test on their behalf.
So when Chris and I did this on behalf of Growth Animals, even though Chris is a falcon and I am a panda, actually Growth Animals is a seahorse with the superpowers of creativity, honesty, and perspective. So if you are a very, very small founder-led business, often the company's superpowers and the company's animal and personality is akin to that of the founder. But as a company grows and attracts more people and evolves, often it takes on a personality of its own. So it's interesting to put yourself in the shoes of your business with your colleagues and see what your company's personality might be.
We recently worked with an accountancy firm based in Horsham, and they asked us to come and help them to build their brand, make it more distinctive within a very crowded market space. And so we ran this session with them, starting with the opportunity for the team to discover their own personality types. And what was really interesting was very quickly we established that the founder, a lady named Teresa, was a panda and showed really strong values of those superpowers of kindness, honesty, citizenship. And this was reflected in the words of her team. Her team talked about the Indigo business and the way that they operated in very much a similar guise. So we took this further and interviewed a number of their core customers, and they too reflected back that it was this kindness, this honesty, this very personal care approach that was why they chose Indigo over all the other potential competitors they could choose. And so we leaned into this and created this brand identity around Indy the panda to be this distinctive brand asset, but also to be a visual metaphor for the brand that was Indigo, for the founder, for the team, for the way that they operated. And I'm pleased to say that a year on from having done that, the team have had their best year yet, and they've really found that having this very distinctive and compelling identity has enabled them to convert more business, to open more doors, and to actually re-energize some of their existing clients as well.
So why was a character so impactful for Indigo? Well, that's because characters are 6 times more memorable, more able to be recalled than all of the other brand assets that you might be spending a lot of time thinking about. So as you can see on the screen, this study by Ipsos shows that characters have far better recall than things like your logo, your font, your colors. And it's actually only hit to the post by sound, by sonic logos. So that's why you have the jingles from all your favorite adverts ringing in your ears and makes them so memorable. So there are loads of examples using characters across lots of different categories for years and years and years. And there's just a small selection on the screen from the energy sector, insurance, cereal, and even a language learning app.
So if you've listened to that and are curious to see whether that could be something worth exploring for yourselves, here's a really quick and easy way to do that. So firstly, do the animal personality test, whether you're doing that for your personal brand or for your corporate brand. Identify what your animal personality is. And then through those superpowers, identify the 2 or 3 that really resonate, the ones that feel genuinely authentic to you, your business's brand. And then you can start to test some concepts with any AI tool that you're readily using yourself. So here's a few quick examples for you now.
So you could test whether a wise and welcoming owl is suitable for your insurance company.
Or whether a charming and affable dolphin is the right choice for your new water brand.
Or whether a happy and horny hippo is appropriate, it's probably the word, for your lingerie brand. And if you can't read that small print, the strapline indeed is the seductress of the Serengeti. And needless to say, I didn't design this slide, Chris did, and he stitched me up by asking me to present it to you today. So thanks, Chris.
You're very welcome. So we'd like to leave you with one thought today, aside from the mental image of a hippo in lingerie, and that is your boring brand holding you back? Is it the thing that is preventing you from building trust with your customers, from cutting through versus your competitors, and from making you more money than ever before?
So if you answered yes to any of Chris's questions, then we would love to offer you a free 30-minute brand consultation, during which we will give you a real and unvarnished opinion on the state of your brand. We will unearth the gaps to bridge and the opportunities to leverage to create a brand that is going from boresome to roarsome. And we'll create a short roadmap with you so that you can create a brand with bite. So to book the consultation, you just click on the QR code here, scan the QR code, and you'll be taken to a page where you can fill in a form and book straight away into your calendar. And we will very much look forward to meeting you and giving you our real, unvarnished view of your brand and the opportunities. Thank you very much for listening today.
Thank you.